You're looking at Chapter 13 bankruptcy and wondering, how much does it cost? How much will my planned payment be for 3 or 5 years? And what goes into the calculation? Thankfully, we spent a lot of time going through the bankruptcy forms, putting together a Chapter 13 calculator to answer that question and many more. So let's get started. Welcome to Ascend Finance's YouTube channel, where we can take complex topics such as Chapter 13 bankruptcy and break them down into simple, human, understandable language to get you out of debt cheaper, easier, and faster. My name is Ben, and I'm the co-founder here at Ascend Finance. So before we get started, I apologize in advance that this video is a bit long. But what we did is we include chapters in the description below so that you can skip to what is most interesting and relevant to you. So what are we gonna cover in this video? We're gonna talk about your Chapter 13 plan payment, how it's calculated, walk you through how to take the Chapter 13 calculator to get your own Chapter 13 plan payment estimate, talk about how to understand your results, compare costs, times, and pros and cons of different options, and finally, discuss some next steps that you can take to help you start getting out of debt now. So first, how does the Chapter 13 plan payment work? A Chapter 13 bankruptcy is often between a 3 or 5 year payment plan where you're making monthly payments. It's for people to pay back at least some of their debt in a Chapter 13 repayment plan. Now, in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, the bankruptcy court helps distinguish what your disposable income is every month to pay back your unsecured debt through the plan. Basically, the court will look at your income and compare it to your expenses and see how much left over is disposable income. Now, in Chapter 13 bankruptcy, you often pay back whatever you can to your debt owed from your disposable income. So here are some things that can kind of affect your Chapter 13 monthly plan payment, including your income, your assets, your debts, and potentially other expenses to think about. Next, what's your Chapter 13 plan payment estimate gonna be? Let's go through that together next. So I added a Chapter 13 calculator link in the description below that we're gonna take together if that works for you. If not, you can take it at a different time. But before we jump into the Chapter 13 calculator, I wanna give a little bit of pretext to why we created the Chapter 13 calculator. The reason we built the Chapter 13 calculator was because we felt that there wasn't enough unbiased information out there to help you kind of compare your different options holistically and not have to pay an arm and a leg to get information. And I think when you're deciding between Chapter 13 or debt settlement or debt management or Chapter 7, there's a lot of information out there. And so the goal of the Chapter 13 calculator that we created was to help simplify that information to present the best and easiest options to get out of debt. Personally, one of the reasons we've made this was there was people at Ascend that have experienced debt. So we wanted to kind of build something that would make it easier for people to understand their options. Let's get started. Let's jump right in. Once you click on the link in the description below, you're going to be taken to a screen that probably looks similar to this one. So first, it kind of helps you estimate. It'll probably take about 2 to 10 minutes based on the kind of the complexity. It's going to give you a Chapter 13 repayment plan estimate. It'll allow you to compare yourself to different options. And again, it's free and it's based on the US bankruptcy forms. So it should be pretty accurate, even though it's still just an estimate. So let's go ahead and click start here. It's going to go through our reviews. We really like our Google reviews. We spend a lot of time speaking with a lot of people and trying to help them understand their information. And so we're excited about the 5.0 based on 159 reviews. If you want to see more reviews, you can just click here. But for now, we're just going to go straight to let's get started. So we're going to put in, I kind of already added some things, but I'm just going to say that, how much unsecured student loan debt do you have? We're going to put 20,000. The next question, approximately how much unsecured debt do you have? Medical, credit cards, personal loans. We're going to put 50,000 here. It says do not include auto or student loans or even mortgage debt, because those debts generally are not going to be discharged in a Chapter 13. Next is, what is your marital filing status? I select married and spouse is filing with me. My wife and I have a household size of 6, so we have 4 daughters. So I put the household size of 6. Next, it's going to ask, how many people are in your house are older than 65? Neither my wife or I are over 65, so we're just going to put 0. And then how many of your dependents are over 18? My oldest is 6, so we are going to put 0 in that question. Next, we're going to click next. What's causing you to consider debt relief? I'm seeing inflation causing a lot of issues around the US, and a lot of people we're helping. So I'm going to put inflation. And what best describes your debt? Kind of, is it past due? Is it a creditor threatening to sue you? Where is it at? Did you get a judgment? So I'm just going to put debt is current, but may go past due soon. So that kind of is maybe more my exploratory stage. Have you been discharged from any bankruptcy in the last 6 years to 8 years? So if you did this, you answer yes, and you can kind of give it some information about which bankruptcy you were enrolled in. I'm going to put no. just for the sake of kind of brevity. When would you like to file bankruptcy? It tries to ask questions that are going to be helpful to you based on kind of your own situation. If it's like, I'm just researching, you might press like within 1 year. I'm going to put within 1 month because a lot of times this is oftentimes a difficult time. It's going to basically help me do a cost estimate, including Chapter 13 attorney fees, so that it can give me a really good sense of what I'm looking for. Now, these questions, if you don't, these questions are kind of more related to kind of an attorney you're looking for, right? What are the attributes of the attorney? If you're kind of just wanting to do some quick analysis and stuff, I would say just unsure, researching my options, or maybe within 1 year. We'll just put there so you can kind of go to the next section. What is your zip code? So I put Santa Clara, California. We're located in California, so I put that. That's super helpful related to where you live for the Chapter 13 forms. So that's a very important question. How do you receive your paycheck? I receive a monthly paycheck. I'm gonna put in that I receive $5,000 monthly. I'm gonna actually put a little bit more here because oftentimes maybe it'll show me that I have a little bit of disposable income that we can kind of look at exactly what that looks like. You know, how often does my spouse, my wife stays at home with the kids, so she doesn't get paid. But you know, there's another question. So if your wife gets paid, you can add that information too, because income is a very important thing. You know, do you receive any other income? I'm gonna put no. And just how consistent is your income? I'm gonna put consistent. Now, if it's very inconsistent, a Chapter 13 plan payment, you know, you're making a monthly payment every month, it might be really challenging to do a Chapter 13 plan payment if your income's really inconsistent. So just something to consider. So next, we're gonna click next. I'm gonna say, is your household income approximately 90,000? I'm gonna click yes or no. We asked this question because we want to make sure your income is as right as possible. Next, the question is like, what is your living situation? I'm gonna say, what is your rent? And I'm gonna say $1,500 a month. You know, we're in the Bay Area, so I'm actually just gonna increase that to $2,500 per month. And I'm gonna click next. Do you have any equity in any high value assets? I'm gonna put no. You know, do you have any other brokerage stocks? So if you answer yes, you can just put the value of those accounts. I'm gonna put no. Next is automobile. So do you have any automobiles? I'm gonna put that we have a 1 car payment. I'm gonna say that the car payment is $550 per month. This question is just try to see if you have equity in your car. So I'm gonna put in 2015 Honda Pilot. And then what is the interest rate? I'm gonna say it's 6.7. Is it titled yes? And is the car behind? No. So I'm just gonna leave that as 0. Do you have any other outstanding balance such as you know, loans thing? I'm gonna put no. You know, what is the monthly amount of debt? So this is like, let's say we have RV that has a amount of $300 per month. I'm just gonna put $300, like just see kind of what that payment would look like. Did you receive a tax, you know, a refund in your most recent tax filing? I'm gonna put yes. Do you have any other debt support obligations such as child support or alimony? I'm gonna put no for that question. But you just put yes and then how much is in arrears so that you can kind of catch up on those things if you are looking to catch up on those things. Next, we're gonna say, would you like to compare your Chapter 13 plan payment? So the reason we have this question is to allow you to compare to many different options so that you can kind of holistically compare across the board. If you're set on Chapter 13, you can click no, right? But if you're kind of like still debating options, you can click yes, and then you can decide which options you wanna compare those to. So I'm gonna add to compare them to these 3 options. This question is super important, but like, which of the following do you prefer? We do free analysis with people. I think that's where we got all the rating reviews because we would also really like to like talk to you, like just a free evaluation about your options. So if you want to do that, you can click yes and add your contact information. We also have attorneys and other representatives that can help you with bankruptcy or any other thing that do free consultations too. So if you want help with that, you can select these, or if you want kind of multiple like perspectives, you can click all of the above and we can talk to you as well. And finally, I'm just gonna select none of the above for now because many people select none of the above. And this last question is like, do you want a copy of your results? If you click yes, we're just gonna ask for your email address so we can send you a copy of your results. At some point in time, your data may change. You might wanna go through there, take the calculator again, edit it accordingly. So if you're not ready to like, maybe in a few months, you'll be ready to talk to an attorney, you're not there yet, you might click yes, add your information, and when you're ready, you can come back and edit it or whatever works best for you. And so I'm gonna click no just for the sake of brevity, and I'm gonna click see results. So now we're gonna look at the Chapter 13 results. So we asked this question to try to help us understand why you're looking at Chapter 13 versus Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is a lot cheaper and faster than Chapter 13. So we kind of asked this question to kind of understand why, right? And so for this, I'm just gonna say, I have an auto, or my automobile is 10,000 above the exemption. and I'm gonna click submit. So next we're gonna actually go through and cover the Chapter 13 results. So the first thing that we're gonna look at is, it says your estimated Chapter 13 plan payment is $1,044 over 36 months. See the table below that breaks the cost down. Now, if you want a free consultation right away, the thing that this can help with is that, if you want your data sent to someone that will already review it, we can do that for you. And so it makes it easier for the attorney because they're getting this information. It might be easier for you because you may not have to enter all the information again. So if you want one, you can click yes, no, but we're not going to look at that too much right now. But let's go through kind of the Chapter 13 calculator results. First, it's estimating $1,044 over 36 months. And this is what's going into that Chapter 13 payment. First, $113 a month in attorney fees, $82 a month in trustee fees. Next, we have the auto payment and the secured payment that we mentioned earlier, which was for, let's say, jewelry. So you look at this, you're like $1,044, that seems quite expensive. But when you take out things that you're already paying, such as your auto payment and your secured monthly payment, you're only looking at $195 per month. That's just additional fees. So that's something to consider when you're looking at your Chapter 13 plan payment estimate. You can look at this and say, what am I already paying? Because oftentimes the attorney may add those into your plan because they want the success of the plan. And if you go behind on those while you're in the plan, it might jeopardize the whole plan. So they might include your auto payment, your mortgage payment, those things in the plan, just an FYI. Now, this disposable income is the one that could be very variable based on your situation. Now, in my case here, it says zero, but this could be thousands of dollars, and this could make Chapter 13 actually quite a bit more expensive than debt settlement. Now, Chapter 7, it says, it looks like I'd qualify for Chapter 7 as well. This is the attorney fee breakdown and the cost. Now, the difference here, if you look here, one's 36 months, one's one payment, right? And one's 42 or 48 months. So it's interesting to compare those when you're looking at options, to compare like how long am I going to be paying these things? Like what's the total cost of these options? Next, look, these kind of break down how much debt settlement is or debt management is. So in this situation, it may look like Chapter 13 is quite a bit more expensive than debt payment, than debt management. But in a debt settlement program, you're not including the auto payment or mortgage payment or secured payment in the plan. In this, you are. So it looks like, debt settlement may look cheaper here, but it might be Chapter 13 that's less expensive because you're going to already be paying your auto and secured payment. Again, this is an estimate, but hopefully it's helpful to understand your options. Next, we kind of talk about the pros and cons of both options, which we believe is really important to kind of make the most informed decision. And then finally, different options. So if you click here, send information, we can get you a free consultation with an attorney. And it's basically sending their information to them so that they can analyze it for you, and that you can kind of understand your option. Now, when we vet companies, we basically try to get 4.7, 4.6, 4.8 and above, and understand their costs, their rating reviews, to basically try to be one of the most affordable options here. And then they will can review the information provided. Finally, we're all about questions. We would love to give you a free call, text, or email, whatever you decide. So if you have any questions, you can type them here, and you can type about how you'd like to be contacted. We do our best to contact you as soon as possible, usually within like 15 minutes, 2 hours. After work, we're going to probably contact you the next day. And then finally, this is just an estimate. We do our best to base everything off the bankruptcy forms, but it is an estimate. So just understand that when you take it. Wow, that was a lot of information. And I thank you for kind of taking the Chapter 13 calculator with me. And hopefully you kind of understand how the calculator works and the results as well. So what's next? What we think is next is ask a lot of questions. We would love to answer all your questions that you have. We do not provide legal advice, but we do understand the different options very well. And if you do need legal advice, we do have a network of reputable attorneys that can do free consultations with you. Now, all the companies that we work with, I believe, offer free consultations such as, debt management, also known as credit counseling, debt negotiation, and bankruptcy. So the goal is to collect information to understand your options to make the most informed decision. And finally, hopefully that after you've asked us questions, ask the attorney questions, you'll be able to make the most informed decision to get you out of debt cheaper, easier, and faster. Thanks so much for watching. That was a very long video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you liked it, I would love a like, or if you'd like to see other information, I'd love a subscribe, because we always are trying to make new information to help you get out of debt cheaper, easier, and faster. Thank you so much for your time. Hope you have a great day.